ball and one moving paddle. In this lecture, we plan to create one more paddle and then we'll add the functionality if the ball hits the paddle. So let's close our Pong, let's close our shell, and then let's create one more class. That class is going to be called Paddle1. So in here, I'm not going to be changing too much. So it's going to be the same thing, def init self dot comma canvas comma color. So canvas color colon, and then we're just gonna do what we did before. So self dot canvas is equal to canvas self dot id is equal to canvas dot create rectangle, and then it's going to be the coordinates of that is 470, 150, 500, 250. So again, these coordinates have been pre-arranged so that it'll be the placement right, so we won't be adding the self.move, and then the fill will obviously be the color. Great. Now we have our ID, we have to create the self.canvas height and self.canvas width. Even though we didn't use it, it's okay to create it. So I'm just going to copy and paste these two from above. You should probably do the same, it'll save us some time. Great. Then let's create our self.y value. Self.y is equal to 0. Awesome. So let's create our draw, def draw, and it takes our parameter self. So it's going to be the same functioning as the above one, so we can just copy this because it is the exact same. Command V, so we're just saying if the top has gone past the top of the module, then bring it back, and if it has gone below, then bring it back. So simple as that. Now let's add our functionality for the def turn left and the def turn right. So def turn left should be for self comma avt, and what we're going to do here is say self.y is equal to 3. So this is going to be a little bit different than this, because if you think about it, once we play the game, you'll understand why we're doing that. And the next one should be def turn right self comma evt self.y should be equal to -3. Now let's bind all. So let's copy these two, Command C, and then enter, Command V. So instead of A, it's going to be key press left and key press right. If you remember from our lecture, from a previous lecture, we did the exact same thing. So key press right. Great. Command S. This should potentially work. Let's hope it works. Cross our fingers. We forgot some of the most important steps. How could I forget? Go over here, let's initialize our paddle. Paddle1 is equal to paddle1 canvas, and if you want, I'm just going to create a pink paddle. I mean, that looks cool. And then let's do paddle.draw. Command S, F5. So we now have a blue and a pink paddle. It'll look pretty cool. I have to click on this, so let's click. The right and left keys don't seem to be doing anything, but the blue paddle is still moving. So let's take a look at what we did wrong with the pink paddle. So close this, let's take a look. We're saying self.y is equal to 0. What's different here? So while writing, I guess we missed out the 1. It should be paddle1.draw. So Command S, F5. And now it should work. So click on this, right, left. So now, this is now a 2-player game, so we can always play this with your friends and have a lot of fun. But great. So now we're about halfway there with creating our game. We have 2 paddles that are fully functional. Now we need the concept of if it hits the paddle, it should rebound. So let's close this. And let's go back to our ball, and we have to pass two things. One will be the paddle, and one will be the paddle 1. So let's go back down to our ball, comma paddle, comma paddle 1. And if you remember what we did last lecture, Command X this, and then put this up top. So Command V, Command S. Great. So we have to create two more definitions in the ball class. The first definition will be if the ball hits the first paddle. So def hit or hit paddle. So hit paddle, the first paddle. If it hits paddle, then what do we have to do? It'll be the exact same thing that what we did in our last last program, our bounce program. Alright, so def dot hit or def hit paddle, it's gonna take in two parameters, self comma pos, and all we're gonna say over here is, so p pos is gonna be, so paddle position is equal to self.canvas.chords paddle.id, so self.paddle.id. Like within last lecture, if you want, you can just scroll and just get this. So if hit paddle, and we're gonna change this just a bit. Alright, so what we're gonna do here is we're gonna say if pos 1 is greater than or equal to paddle pos 1, I'll explain this, don't worry, and pos 1 is less than or equal to pos or paddle pos 3, colon, if pos 2 is greater than or equal to paddle pos, yeah, I know, this is confusing, I'll give you that much, paddle pos 0, and then last but not least, and pos 2 is less than or equal to paddle pos 2. So if you didn't get that, or you probably didn't get that, I'm going to explain that to you. Just wait. Return true, and if not, return false. Great. So what we're saying here, if position 1, so what is position 1? The top part of our ball. If the top part of our ball is under the top part of the paddle, and if the top part of our ball is above the bottom part of our paddle, then we want to say here, what does pos 2 mean? It means the right side, or it does mean the right side, doesn't it? We made a mistake. We want the left side, so make that pos 0 and pos 0. Now we're just checking to see if the left side of the ball is more than the right side of the paddle. So if the right side of the paddle, if the ball's left side has gone more than the right side of the paddle, and we're checking to see, cancel that. Accurate checking here. If the right side or if the left side of the ball is more than the left side of the paddle, and if the left side of the ball is less than the right side of the paddle. So if it's between both ends of the paddle, then we want to return true, else return false. So let's create a new if statement here. If hit underscore paddle, and we're going to give in our pos, is equal to true. What do we want? We want self.x equal to 3. Awesome. So the same way, alright, it's going to be the exact same, just a few changes. Def hit paddle 1 self comma pos. So I'm just going to command C this because it's pretty close. I'll show you the changes. Command V. Alright. So we have if position 1 is greater than or equal to this. That's right. And if position 1 is less than or equal to 3, that's right. But here we have to change this to 2. Because our paddle, this second paddle is on the right side, we have to check if the right side of the ball is in between those two, not the left side. So make this position 2 and position 2. There we go. Command S. And make sure you change it to self.paddle1.id. Don't forget that. Alright, now let's create another if statement. If hit underscore paddle1 is equal to true, and then pass in pause, then all we're going to say is self.x is equal to -3. Command S, okay, cross your fingers, hopefully this will run. Click, okay. It seems to give me an error. Hit paddle is not defined. So let's go back here. Where are we saying hit paddle? We're saying it over here. Why is it saying hit paddle not defined? Alright, I think I know what our problem is. So what we have to do is we haven't initialized our paddle or our paddle1 yet. That might be the problem, so let's try. Self.paddle is equal to paddle. And self.paddle1 is equal to paddle1. So command S, F5. We shouldn't get the error now. Let's try. Nope, it's still giving us the error. Alright. So let's look back at our code. Aha. So we have not called our function with the self. So over here when we're saying the draw, we have to say if self.hitPaddle and if self.hitPaddle1. So command S, F5. Alright, so let's try running this. Does the down and right work? Yes. Okay, let's try hitting the ball. Awesome. So now as you can see, as we move the paddles, the ball is hit, the ball is hit. Great. So now there's a few more stuff that we have to add. So the first one is we need to have a way to create a score. So the score will maybe not, but at least once the ball hits the end, either the left end or the right end, the ball must be centered. So we'll do that in the next lecture. Right now, great job. We were able to create our paddle class, our paddle1 class, and now the ball is hitting off both paddles. Great. See you in the next lecture.